Former UN ambassador and South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley is getting a big boost in her bid for the White House. Haley secured a key endorsement from New Hampshire Governor Chris Sununu ahead of the state's critical early primary. Sununu says he's all in for Haley, telling the crowd at her town hall that it's time to move on from former President Donald Trump.
There's a lot of frustration out there in the country. People are frustrated over the last 8 years. We have a president that's more concerned about nap time. We have a president that's worried about his jail time. We've got to be able to move forward. So we're not going to elect as a party, bring somebody forward that is constantly distracted with whatever nonsense and drama that the former president brings to the table. That would be irresponsible on our part.
Let's bring in our ABC News political director, Rick Klein, for more on this. Rick, thanks so much for being here. How significant of a boost is this for Nikki Haley in the critical state of New Hampshire?
Chris Sununu is, by some measures, the most popular governor in the country. He is the most popular Republican figure in the state of New Hampshire. He comes from a lineage of a family that is quite well known in that state. His dad was a governor and a White House chief of staff under George H.W. Bush. His brother, a United States senator. So the Sununu name means a lot. This was probably the most coveted endorsement in the state of New Hampshire. The other candidates would have loved to have gotten it. It was clear he was not going to endorse Donald Trump. It was clear that he was going to endorse an alternative. And this is a stamp of approval that I think establishes pretty firmly that she is the choice of a portion of the party right now that wants an alternative to Trump, that is kind of honed in on the idea that she is the only one who can win. Comes on the heels of the Koch organization also endorsing her with a similar argument that she is the best equipped to take the Republicans forward past Trump.
But that question of can she take on Trump, still a big one. Obviously, former President Trump still ahead in the polls. Does this endorsement give her a better chance of catching up to him?
It's a huge but, exactly, Elizabeth, because all of these candidates are working from 30, 40 points down, even in New Hampshire, even in Iowa. Nothing seems to have changed the trajectory of this race. And look, people endorsing opponents to Donald Trump is nothing new. Nikki Haley tried to do that behind Marco Rubio back in 2016, if you have a really good memory. None of it has seemed to ever matter against Donald Trump. Now, look, I think the combination of forces that might further winnow the field to allow Nikki Haley to have a one-on-one matchup at some point, that's still a possibility, but I don't think anyone is under the impression that any individual endorsement can really sway any votes. People know Donald Trump with about 100% name recognition, and there aren't that many voters that take their cues directly from a politician, no matter how popular he or she is.
And Rick, over on the Democratic side, we know that President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris are planning a campaign swing through South Carolina ahead of the state's February 3rd primary. What's the importance of South Carolina, especially for this president?
Yeah, Joe Biden moved South Carolina to the front of the line for the Democrats in terms of contests that actually determined delegates. And he did it as a thank you present to the state that essentially delivered him the nomination. Remember, he came in 4th place in Iowa, 5th place in New Hampshire. He was dead as a campaign, as a candidate back in 2020 until South Carolina rescued him. And then he was able to take that momentum through Super Tuesday. South Carolina is traditionally the first in the South state. It's the first Democratic primary state in past years that had a significant number of voters of color, black voters in particular. So it was a statement for the Democratic Party to put South Carolina there at the front, and it is going to be a statement for Joe Biden to show up in South Carolina ahead of the primary. He right now only has kind of nominal primary opposition, but it does tell you that at least at some level, the president's reelection campaign is considering what it means to actually campaign in primaries. This is the first known campaigning that he will do in a state that doesn't matter for the general election, that only matters for the Democratic primary. South Carolina is not going to be a battleground next fall.
And a good reminder, thinking back to 2020, that there is still a lot of time and a lot of voting left. ABC News political director Rick Klein, thanks so much.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.